If you had to choose one thing that you were good at creatively, stick to that lane, could you do it? What's up? I am out and about. I am fasting today because I thought that'd be good for me spiritually and also physically before I consume all sorts of things on Christmas Day. But to the point of the subject, whatever you do creatively for a living or as your passion project, it may be the only thing that you really feel good at or that you're passionate about. But if you're like some of my friends, we're good at a lot of things, and we wanted to try a lot of things when we were coming up, and we for me, I tried all the genres and as a screenwriter, and I felt like I was pretty good at a lot of them. Not great in all of them, but pretty good. And I could make a living in almost anything, I think. Although there's stuff like probably period drama would be a tough putt. Anything to do with soap operas or that sort of thing, I would not really shine. But I was pretty good at comedy, and I was pretty good at action, and I was pretty good at creating science fiction-y stuff and also creating fantasy stuff. But I was thinking about it recently. If I had to pick one thing, what would it be? And I realized I made that decision a long time ago. And I'll give you a brief walkthrough of what my creative journey was. In college, I decided that my dream job was to write for Saturday Night Live. This is way long ago. And I didn't have the resources or the connections, or I didn't really know how to make it work. I certainly didn't know anybody who knew anybody in Hollywood or New York, the New York comedy scene. And I was too shy to become a stand-up comedian or join like the Groundlings or whatever to become an improv poison. So I just I tucked that dream away and hoped that maybe one day somehow it would work out. But in the meantime, then I started to move over towards filmmaking, and I think in my mid-20s I was all about becoming an indie filmmaker, and I watched all these indie films and all these foreign films. I watched all the crap, all of it, and all the good stuff too, everything in between. And I then realized that I was not going to have the resources to make a feature film. I made one with a friend. We used a lot of money on credit, and it was a terrible idea, but we learned a lot as a result of all the mistakes we made from that. But I realized I could not afford to do that again, and I was not good at going and asking for money. So I just decided that screenwriting was going to be it. And then when I got to LA, I decided that I was going to really just focus on that. And I was kind of all over the place at first, and then I realized I had to kind of zoom into something. So I zoomed into comedy, and I started doing that exclusively, and that's how I kind of broke in. It was a genre piece. It was a science fiction fantasy comedy that was considered a 4-quadrant situation, and it was really funny, and it also was grounded, I guess, adventure. And that worked. But eventually, over the course of a few years, I started getting pushed more towards just straight up family comedies or family adventure movies, not comedy, not real science fiction or grounded fantasy. It was more just almost like live action cartoons, which is fine. But my heart wasn't really in it, and I kept trying to find ways to I'd sneak in something really cool and futuristic and game changer technology into stuff, and into like a kids movie, and it was like it just didn't really fit. And looking back, I have to laugh at some of the things I tried to wedge into these very simple family adventure projects. But I realized I wasn't going to get invited to do all the stuff that I wanted, and I wanted to do everything. I wanted to, oh, poor guy, little squirrel. That's gross. Sorry you had to see that. I decided I was never going to get the big invitation if this was any evidence of how it was going to go. I wasn't going to get invited to write Star Wars or Wedding Crashers or at the time I wanted to write like anything with Ben Stiller and Owen Wilson and Will Ferrell and Jack Black. I wanted to write for those guys. But on the other hand, I wanted to write something along the lines of Alien. And also, I wanted to write something along the lines of Stand By Me. And also, I wanted to write everything. And it's like you can't do everything until you become extremely established. Then you can kind of pivot, move across genres and stuff. Even then, it's tricky. Because you've got agents and reps that really want you to do this or that so that they can get paid. And I understand that. So I realized at some point that I think as I watched comedy fall apart, starting in the mid-20-teens, I think that's, maybe 2014, 2015, they just sort of died, and they don't make them like they used to anymore. I didn't see room in that universe for me, and so I was like, well, what do you want to stand for? What kind of work do you want to be proud of when you look back at your career? And comedy is so fickle and mean. I mean, it's like you look at some comedies that were beloved and now they're just sort of like forgotten. But you look at think of your favorite dramatic action movie. Well, action movie is a little broad, but think of, Lord of the Rings. It still holds up. Or think about your favorite fantasy movie or something, and it's like a lot more, the effects are okay. It's like it's transcendent to me. And I realized that's what I really wanted to be known for more than a comedy if I had to choose. So I kind of picked a lane. So have you been forced to pick a lane? And if so, how did you choose? Did you follow your heart? Did you follow the money? Did you listen to good counsel? Or did you let somebody like a manager or an agent or a producer talk you into something that wasn't really you? Hope you made a wise decision. And remember, it's never too late to pivot and make a course correction. Because I've made plenty of those, and I'm glad I'm where I am now, totally. And I did make the right decision. All that to say, Merry pre-Christmas, 2 days from now, Christmas, so here we go. And with that, I'd like to just say a quick prayer of blessing over you. Here we go. Lord, I thank you for this person who's listening, watching, passively or actively, and I just want to ask a blessing over their entire life, their creative process, and also their family life, their relationships with friends, significant others, whoever it is, children. I pray that you would walk with them over the holidays and encourage them and show them how great you are in their lives. And I pray that you bless them. And I'm just grateful to have the privilege to pray these things. And thank you for your goodness. Amen. And that's all I got. And we're going to close on a cool sunset.